Hello, welcome to the stream. Today we're going to be talking about CASSA, however you want to say it. CASSA. I guess CASSA would be more accurate, which is the Keeping All Students Safe Act, why you should care about it, how you can be an advocate regarding this, and that sort of thing. If you're not in the US, you can still hang out with us, and we can talk about policy type stuff, advocacy, kind of on that level. So that's what we're going to be doing today. I'm going to wait a little bit, just a few minutes, to let people join us. If all goes to plan. I haven't ever shared my screen through here before, but I wanted to walk through some things with you with it on screen. I think that would be easier for everybody. So if it goes to plan, we'll be walking through some things and kind of how you can do some stuff as well. And why this matters. It was very interesting to see like a vast majority of people had no idea what it was. So I feel like it's a good opportunity to explain and help people understand. Also, we're gonna hope that my internet stays on, my power in general, hopefully, because it is storming right now. So that's super fun. Love that for us. Oof. I love how I was like opening another one and it was just saying things back to me, which is highly disturbing. Oh my goodness. Josh Richard. Yeah, I'm in Canada, so I had no idea what it was. I'm happy to hear something like it exists, though. Yay. Yay. So, do they have laws against restraint and seclusion in Canada, or do you know? Hello, Alex Carson. Howdy, howdy. Good to see you here. I feel like, did you know about CASA, and are you interested in hearing about it if you haven't? I'm excited. I'm very excited. This is the kind of the side of things that I've been wanting to kind of get into more, and I think it'll be really cool for us to do some stuff, because I think a lot of times, like with the autistic community, sometimes our advocacy is more like, what are the right words to say? And I think here in the US especially, this is a really good opportunity to go beyond like telling people about general information or like people's preferences about how we say things, and like actually making a change. So that's what I'm hoping to see. You have no idea. Nice. Hello, Flying Falcon. Welcome. Oh, yay! I'm glad. I'm happy. I'm happy you're listening, Alex. Okay. So maybe like 30 seconds or a minute more, and then we'll just kind of jump right into it. Hello, James. Hello. Nice to see you here. I'll try to remember to put people up on here. Obviously, when we're going through like screen sharing and stuff like that, that's not going to happen. I'm sorry. I took a shower not too long ago because like it was about to storm. And did you know? Okay, question. While we're waiting for some more people to jump on, I was always told that you're not supposed to like take a shower or be like in like water in general, like even if it's inside your house when it's storming like with lightning. But like other people have never heard that before. So like, have you heard that? Because that's what I was always told. Like if you're taking a shower during a thunderstorm, like you can like get electrocuted or something. And I don't know. I think I looked it up one time. I think it was only relevant for like certain things or whatever. But I want to know if you were told that, because I've had this argument with my husband. He's like, that's not a thing. I'm like, it is a thing. It was a rule. Oh my goodness. Also, it's like very humid because it hasn't like just poured raining yet. It's like warm and like sticky. So that's super fun. I think after you guys answer my question, I'll get started. I think my thing is on a delay. I never know what to do when it's a delay because I'm just like, let's sit here and stare into the void and hope that things go well. All the people who like jumped on for 2 seconds are like, why are you not talking? Okay. Well, it's okay. I'll be the only weirdo who believed that about Thunderstorms. Oh, hello. I'm gonna say your name wrong. Cody's? Hi there. I don't know anything about CASA, but I'm learning so much about autism thanks to you. And my 4-year-olds. Okay, sorry. Sorry. Spectrum. Yes. That's awesome. And I'm really excited you've come to learn some more. And I'm really happy that you've been able to learn stuff. That makes me happy. Cat Lily says I have heard not to be on a landline, but nothing about avoiding showering during a thunderstorm. Interesting. I don't think I heard that before, because like usually like if the power goes out, we would use a landline, right? Like when other stuff was down, you could use a landline. I don't know. Anyway, so we're gonna learn about CASA today. CASA is the Keeping All Students Safe Act. It started pouring. Sorry, I was like, I've been waiting for the sound, and here it is. So this act has to do with seclusion and restraint all across the United States. I don't know if you can hear the thunder that just went. We'll see how this goes. This is gonna be so fun. Flying Falcon says landlines have their own power. Aha, thank you. I was like, wait, why does that make sense? Okay. I'm the one who's talking to you about this. Okay. So basically, this has to do with seclusion and restraint across the entire U.S. It has, that's what I was gonna say. When I first scheduled the live stream, if you were like really quick to click on it, I had mentioned in the description box about waiting until it was reintroduced for the 2021 this session, which I don't think it's just 2021, but anyway, you heard it. Oh my gosh. And I had been hearing word that it should be soon. Really cool thing is it has been reintroduced literally yesterday. So the CASA 2021 has been reintroduced to Congress for this session as of yesterday. So that means that what we do today and whenever you watch this, if you watch it back, is really, really important because it's very timely. So if you haven't already kind of been familiarized with restraint and seclusion from the video that I did on it, hello, Georgia Khan 1 2 3 4. Seclusion and restraint disproportionately affects disabled individuals. So about 80% of all seclusion and restraint done in schools are on disabled people. So that's kind of extremely ridiculous considering how little percentage of the general population and the school population is disabled. Very clearly disproportionately used. In Illinois, they did an investigation where they found out the gross misuse of seclusion and restraint and the rooms that they would use. So this isn't like, oh, you can go to a sensory room when you're feeling overwhelmed and calm down. This is, you've been physically removed from your classroom or whatever because you did something, whether it was aggressive or something, or in some cases just for very little things. Some places were doing it because they didn't do their homework or because they didn't want to do something in the class. So it definitely escalates a lot of the time. And this is being like forcibly removed. Often restraint and seclusion go hand in hand. So that is holding someone down. The worst kind is prone restraint, which is face down. That's where typically people aren't going to be able to breathe properly. People have died from that, as well as autistic children, especially. So if you want to hear more about kind of what they found in Illinois, the kind of things that are going on, feel free to check out that video that I did on it. It is linked in this description box. So today we're looking at this on a nationwide level for the United States. So for example, Oklahoma does not have any rules against prone restraint, restraint in general, and seclusion. So it's up to every single school district to determine what they're going to do. There are guidelines that they're suggested to use, but they don't actually, like, there's no legal ramification for them misusing it, for them basically abusing disabled children. There is no evidence that there's any sort of therapeutic value. There is literally no positive to seclusion and restraint in the way that it's used. And we're not talking about like stopping a child from, hitting someone over the head with a chair. We're talking about mechanically restraining, which would be like using non-physical restraints, like tying someone to a chair, for example, or we're talking about taking them to the floor. We're talking about things that could hinder their ability to breathe. We're talking about very, very serious restraints here. We're not talking about like, oh, you can't touch a child to like make them not like, throw a desk at someone or something. We're talking about unnecessary, honestly, restraints and seclusions that just add to a trauma cycle. So actually something I personally was wanting to do was to get that banned here in Oklahoma because we don't have any laws against it. But then I learned about CASSA. And so I'm kind of throwing all my weight into CASSA right now because if that gets passed, then that's Oklahoma and all the other states. This is any school that receives federal funding. So all the public schools, basically, pretty much, would have to comply to this rule, which would stop, potentially, hopefully, a big part of the trauma cycle that happens, especially for disabled students, as well as other minorities. I'm going to stop for a second to say hello. Puka Ducky. Oh, cool. A live stream. Hello. Hello. Josh Richards says, you asked me earlier if they have this sort of legislation in Canada. I can now see that we passed it back in 2018. Very cool. Very cool. And also, hello, Kaishana. Hello, Mr. Mark. So what I wanted to do is go over the fact sheet. That's going to be just a quicker thing to help us understand what exactly is going into this legislation. Now, a lot of times there are or there are bills basically that seem like they'd be good for people with disabilities or autistic people, etc. And they end up having problems, like a lot of problems that a lot of autistic people or disabled people are against. This has been pushed by the Alliance Against Seclusion and Restraint, which is a father of an autistic son who was, I can't remember, secluded or restrained or both. And so he started that on behalf of his child. Very reputable autistic-friendly groups. Anybody who's been against seclusion and restraint, pro-autistic, pro-disabled people's rights, this is very well supported, is what I'm trying to say. So this isn't something that we need to be like concerned about, in my opinion. This is something we should really, really support. And I really think that it's definitely in our interest to use what we have at our disposal, which is our voice. So whether you're, even if you're not able to speak out your mouth, if you can communicate in any form and you are in the United States, you have a valuable voice that matters to your representatives. So, hi, Don. What's really important, and I think sometimes we don't necessarily realize, is when we, as just random people on the internet, when we take the time to write to representatives, congresspeople, etc., about things that really matter to us, things that they can take action on, like CASA, it makes a difference because a lot of people don't do that. We might spend a lot of times in the comment section saying what our opinions are, or people like me might make videos, but that's all good and well, but it's not really changing policy. So this is an opportunity for you as someone who is interested in autism, interested in disability rights, interested in whatever else, who is maybe against seclusion and restraint, doesn't want to see the trauma cycle continue in public schools. All of this, if you fall under that umbrella, I really do think that this is something that should interest you and you should get behind. See, Jendu, is this a bill up for discussion in Congress soon? It was just reintroduced yesterday. So it didn't get through fast enough last session, and so it had to be reintroduced again. The cool thing is that in March, the attorney generals for several states actually got together, wrote and co-signed a letter advising Congress to go ahead and pass this. There are major groups behind it. So let's go ahead and go over this fact sheet real quick, to kind of understand what it is going to actually do. Natalia Grace, as a non-American, is there anything we can do to help? Yes. Specifically on this level, sharing information for your American friends would be awesome. As non-Americans, finding out how you can get involved in your how your country works with legislation, because most countries do have some level of feedback from their citizens. So if your area doesn't have laws against restraint and seclusion, maybe looking into that, or just kind of getting involved in general. But if for this very specific case, sharing to maybe make it available to more people who actually can. I don't know that they would necessarily listen too much to people outside of the US on a specific US legislation. C-Gen Do, to your knowledge, what are the objections to it? So from my understanding, the main objections are people who are scared that, because they don't know what else to do, basically. So they've learned to rely on sending children to be sent to a seclusion room, or having someone take them out and restrain them and calm them down. And so they don't know better. They don't know what else to do. And so they feel like somehow that they're going to be in danger, or that other people are going to be in danger, because they have personally been fed that information that, you know, if you don't do this to the person, then they're dangerous to you, or even to a level of convenience. I've heard people complain like, well, I can't teach my class. Yeah, but secluding the child and putting them in a restraint that could endanger their life is not an answer to them disrupting your classroom. So a lot of it is that, because they've learned like, this is what we do in this case. Some people are also thinking like it takes it to the degree of like, you can't stop a child from throwing a desk at someone's head, which isn't true. We're not talking about like stopping someone from from causing imminent harm to somebody. We're talking about restraints that could kill people. We're talking about seclusion rooms that cause trauma. So that's usually the main issues. The other issues would be funding usually. People fight over money. That's the thing. And the funding to be able to train staff, to change protocol, to learn how to do things better is usually a barrier. A lot of people get kind of up in arms about that. Thank you, the fighting expert. Thank you very much. I feel like us autistics also need to get Common Core removed in the school system, because it also leads to seclusion and restraint with people who have autism. I think that there's a lot of overhaul. I would agree that needs to be done, because it does definitely, like, you don't fit what, you know, people think or people want from you, and Common Core and other things like that kind of breed that idea, right? And if you're not in the norm, then you're causing a problem. And they've learned, well, the problem kids, we send them to the blue room, or we send them to this room, or we send them to so-and-so to deal with them. And that's just not appropriate. Does this include anything about getting rid of ABA? No, it does not. And honestly, that's a good thing. And here's why. If we muddy the bill concerning seclusion and restraint with fighting people who are pro-ABA, we are not going to get done what we need to get done with seclusion and restraint. And also, there'll be kind of a disjointed bill anyway. So no, it does not. C-Gen are there good alternatives to current practices in the bill? So let's go ahead and look at it, actually. Let's see. Let me pull it up here. There's a fact sheet, and there's also something else I wanted to go over, and I think that'll kind of help with that. I haven't done the share screen thing before, so bear with me. Wherever we are. I was like, what on earth? There it is. Okay. Hello. We are now to get the thunder, though. Okay. So this is a recent fact sheet from 2020. So let's go ahead and go over this. I'll just read it out loud. you should be able to see it on your screen if all is going well. If not, that's really awkward. Every child should be safe and protected while in school. Sadly, that is not always the case. A 2009 investigation by the Government Accountability Office found hundreds of incidents of child abuse, some resulting in death due to the use of seclusion and restraint practices in school. The most current data from the Civil Rights Data Collection, or CRDC, continues to confirm this, with 101,990 students subjected to seclusion or restraint during the 2017-2018 school year. Of the students restrained or secluded, 78% were students with disabilities, who were disproportionately students who identified as Black/African American and boys. Although the number of students subject to seclusion or restraint is staggering, the CRDC data may be an underestimation of the actual incidents due to reporting issues uncovered in the Gao report released in April of 2020. The thunder, sorry. Due to insufficient quality control measures and other problems found, it is difficult to understand the full scope of seclusion and restraint incidents in schools today. ProPublica uncovered violations of state laws, lack of reporting, and a lack of oversight regarding seclusion and restraint in an ongoing series out of Illinois, and that is only one example of inconsistency between reported data and the facts on the ground. And that's actually even something local. I was looking into the data for seclusion and restraint for some stuff here in Oklahoma, and from personal account, been hearing a lot of stuff that doesn't really line up with what's been reported. So, I mean, are we that surprised? About the Keeping All Students Safe Act. The Keeping All Students Safe Act, introduced at this time, I believe a few different people actually did it this time. So, introduced by several different representatives in Congress, would make it illegal for any school receiving federal funds to seclude a child or use dangerous restraint practices that restrict breathing, such as prone or supine restraint. So prone restraint is face down, supine is on the back. So again, this is talking about we are not going to put children in situations where we could kill them, which has happened multiple times to autistic children. The bill would also prohibit schools from physically restraining children except when necessary to protect students and staff. So you're not going to restrain a child for no good reason, but obviously if we're in a situation where they're hurting a student, they're going to try to hurt a student or a staff member, etc., which are valid concerns. These things can happen. They can be restrained in that situation, but not in a way that would cause them to not be able to breathe. Lastly, the bill would better equip school personnel with the training they need to address school-expected behavior with evidence-based proactive strategies. More specifically, the Keeping All Students Safe Act would establish requirements in schools by prohibiting seclusion, mechanical restraints, chemical restraints, physical restraint that restricts breathing or is life-threatening, including prone and supine restraint, requiring certification of staff conducting physical restraint that meets the additional requirements, prohibiting physical restraint as a planned intervention. So what that means is you're not going to put it in someone's IEP. This is not part of the plan. Every single day, whenever behaviors might escalate, we're not going to put it down in a plan like, okay, and then we're going to grab them by the arm and we're not going to do that. This is not appropriate. And it's kind of beyond me that this has to be a thing, but it is a thing. It is a thing. People put this in their intervention plans. People put this as a thing like somehow it's appropriate. It's just not. So this is safeguarding against that as well. Requiring parental notification and follow-up meetings if a physical restraint occurs. This is also very important because in many places that's not required either. So your child could be in public school and you don't know what's been going on with them, especially if they might be non-speaking or have trouble, communicating very big ideas verbally, or are just scared in general, and you wouldn't even freaking know. Or some people have been told their kid has been put in the blue room, and they don't know what the blue room is. They don't know it's a seclusion room, and they didn't know what was going on. So it's very important that they would be able to speak with the parent on this. Support states to provide training to better ensure students and staff's safety and to establish monitoring and enforcement systems by requiring each state to have its own policies, procedures, monitoring, and enforcement systems in place to meet the requirements within 2 years of the law's enactment. allowing states to apply for competitive grants for support in establishing, implementing, and enforcing the policies and procedures required by the law, and improving state and local capacity to analyze the data and improving school climate and culture. I think all of these are very important. In the United States, we are very big on being able to do things like making decisions state by state, because the culture and the people there have different beliefs and different ideas and different ways of doing things. And I think that's a good way to do this. Letting each state decide what kind of method we're going to do instead, but making sure that it's not going to be one that includes dangerous restraint or seclusion. So still leaving there's still place for the local states, etc., to handle things, but within a way that's not going to traumatize or abuse children, to kind of what seclusion and restraint does, basically. This also is talking about basically funding when we're talking about grants as well. Competitive grants, I believe, basically references if you're doing better, you might get more, I think, on that part. Making sure that they're better equipped, etc. So that's kind of taking some of the strain that a lot of places might bulk back at, because they're like, our state budget only has so much. Having the federal government be putting those in place is kind of useful there. Increase transparency, oversight, and enforcement to prevent future abuse and death by requiring states to collect and report data on the use of seclusion and restraint annually, and making data about restraint and seclusion publicly available while protecting student privacy, including data on the number of incidents, injuries, cases of death, and demographic breakdown. It's beautiful. I'm sorry. It just addresses so many things, and it's really great. Then there's this lovely list of what this act is endorsed by. COPA, NDRN, ASAN, NCLD, AUCD, the National PTA, National Place, CSAVER, Communication First. They're major with non-speakers. So very, very important. The Alliance Against Seclusion and Restraint, of course. So there are a whole lot of people. You can see this on screen. I'm going to go ahead and actually pop off here. Let me figure out how I can do that. I think I have to. Yep, there we go. All right. Hi, hello. I'm back full screen for you. I just lost my train of thought. Let me come back to you guys. Also, oh my gosh. Thank you, the fighting experts. Thank you for their super chat. The best way to counter the funding argument is to say, whatever you spend, I will force you to spend double or triple to bury a PR nightmare. I mean, you're not wrong. And that's really sadly, it's kind of sad that it takes that for people to like care. But I mean, if we're talking about spending money, I'll make you spend more to. That's funny. Natalia Grace says, teachers are not actually allowed to touch students in my country. Seclusion and restraint are illegal in schools. Very cool. The fighting expert says, you said the same thing. Kaishana says, that makes sense. Alex Carson says, I love fact sheets. Me too. Jen do. And fighting ABA is something that would require having study-backed alternatives. There's actually a study from the DoD with thousands of people that is showing very little positive improvement from ABA. Yes. DoD is the... When I read DoD, I read... Oh, yeah, it is the Department of Defense, because it was a report basically because don't they... Basically, they provide for the military families, right? This is me guessing right now. I feel like I might be wrong here, but isn't it because their insurance through the government pays for ABA, and because they're not seeing it actually do anything, they're not really happy? I think that's what the DoD report is. I'm not 100%. But you might want to, you might expand on that one. But yes, so If you haven't already seen the video I did on seclusion, prone restraint, especially specifically focusing on Illinois, just because ProPublica and the Chicago Tribune, they teamed up and they had very impressive investigative reporting, very effective. So it kind of helps highlight the issue overall. And so if you haven't seen that, there are many alternatives to restraint and seclusion that have been shown to work. There are model schools for something called ukeru, which a school came up with who had a very, very high number of restraints and seclusion. Their school environment was pretty horrible. There was always like yelling at students, threatening students, all these sorts of things. They had, I don't know if it was autistic child or disabled in general child who died because they choked on their own vomit during a restraint. And that really pushed them to find another way, because obviously this wasn't working for the good of their students and their staff. And they started doing this and found amazing results. So it's not the only way. There are many other ways. If you go to the Alliance Against Seclusion and Restraint, which is endseclusion.org, they have some other alternatives there as well. And considering they and many of these major organizations have partnered, I would assume that this kind of information is also available to those in Congress. I know that, I think his first name is Guy, of the Alliance Against Seclusion and Restraint, has testified before, I don't know if it's state Congress or U.S. Congress, before on the issue. So that's kind of how they also decide things, as well as they listen to different groups, as well as the information available. Yes, TRICARE military insurance pays for more than any civilian insurance does. Even many elective procedures. Highly recommend you get in contact with Tim Pool and ask him to talk about it. Who is... I feel like I know this name. Why do I know this name? I'm looking. Writing it down this time, because every time something useful comes up, I always forget. Robber Guy. Is prone restraint and seclusion going to be banned with this act? Effectively, yes. However, this is anything that receives federal funding, any school that receives federal funding, which means pretty much yes. There are very few places that don't get some kind of federal grant, even if they are a private school. So if they've ever accepted federal money or are accepting federal money in any kind of way, then yes, for them. There might be some places that could technically get away with it, but very few. And at that point, it would be on the parent to really think about, like, do I want to take my child to a place that very specifically, but most places, it's really hard to find a place that hasn't accepted some kind of federal funding. So if they accept federal funding to continue to have their federal funding, they are required legally to basically not do seclusion or restraint with this act if it were to pass. How do you not know about Tim Pool? I don't know. I probably do. It's not in the top of my head. So I'm really excited about this. I think with so many organizations behind it, with the attorney generals of many states having written a letter and co-signed it, I think now is a very likely time for it to pass. So this would be a time for us to act. I think just everyone putting their full weight into it would really help it. So I'd like to kind of show you guys, I don't think I want to read the whole letter to you guys. It's basically a breakdown of the information that we've kind of gone over with the fact sheet, as well as kind of what I've gone over before in the prone restraint and seclusion, etc. video, the data, a lot of the data, the fact that the incidences of restraint and seclusion have been rising over time because it doesn't work, and then it breeds more issues, and then they use it again, and it's a cycle, and it's not a good one. So what I do want to dang, okay, sorry. I'm reading. The fighting expert says Tim Pool does politics but has a massive audience. If we bring this to him, we can get backing from almost half the country. I mean, that's a really big group of people. I'll have to look into how to get a hold of this individual. And also, if you are interested in suggesting it to him, feel free to. Like, that would be really great. So while it's really awesome that we see that there are these big organizations, even, if we got Tim Pool to talk about it, all these big groups and people with a lot of influence, that's awesome. But I want to tell you today, or show you today, how you specifically can be an advocate to get this passed. Because I really do believe that this bill is, quite frankly, amazing. And that it's necessary. And if we want to see something positive change, I think this is a really good area to see that happen, if that makes sense. Because again, we complain about like seeing bad things happen, but this is a very real way to stop a large portion of it. Obviously, people break the law. Obviously, there are places where things will still happen, but making it illegal, making people actually have to change what they're doing instead of letting states sanction this kind of action would be really important. I see some plans to spam Tim Pool. So I wanted to actually show you how you can get in contact with your representatives and well, I guess it's so confusing because technically you have a representative in the House of Representatives, and then you have two technically representatives that are actually called senators in the Senate. So like saying representatives feels wrong. Anyway, whatever. The people who represent you in Congress, how you can get a hold of them. Quite frankly, there are like fancy ways if you are really good at letter writing or want to be better at letter writing. And you want to actually write a physical letter and do your best to be like you want to do this really awesome. There is a fantastic guide by Alliance Against Seclusion and Restraint. I've linked that in this description box as well, talking about kind of how you can best write a letter. You guys cracked me up so much. And the best ways to go about that, because I know a lot of people also aren't sure, like, what do I say? I don't really know how to format this. If you're wanting to look into like how to format, maybe how to go about that, definitely click that link, keep it open in the tab so you can kind of do that. But obviously the first step is, how do we even get into contact with these people, right? Instead of giving you like a form, because I could give you a template and be like, here you go, just like write in this, or just, put your name in and push send. The problem with that is not effective. A lot of times those get blocked, deleted. They don't really care when people are mass signing the same type of letter or they're receiving the same type of email, etc. What really impacts your representatives in government is you genuinely talking to them. And that doesn't have to be on the phone, because I don't do well on the phone either. But whether that's like through an actual letter or through email, there's a lot of places that have their contact forms. That's usually kind of how it goes actually on these websites. And I have gotten phone calls back from my representatives about this particular bill, actually. Both of my senators, I don't know what's going on with my representative though. But basically it is much more impactful because they know that you on your own cared enough about this issue to talk to them, and they represent you in the American government. You are the person they're supposed to represent. So when you put pressure on them and say, hey, this is very important to me, I want you to vote to support this, I want you to push this through, I want this to happen, they're going to listen when there's people writing in. And these aren't just, forms that someone spammed at them. These are genuine people saying, I live, where you represent me, and I want you to do this on my behalf. They tend to be more willing to listen, especially if it's something they don't know much about or don't know how their constituents feel about it. Hello, Amanda Caesar. Hello, everyone. A little late. You're good. I just finished kind of explaining it, going over the fact sheet. All of the links and stuff that I'm going to be going over today are in the description box. We have a group of people who are working on trying to get Tim Pool's attention on this as well. So that's fun. But let's go ahead and real quick, I'll show you how you can find who, because quite frankly, a lot of us don't know who represents us where. So if you didn't know, every state has 2 senators. So for your state in general, everyone will have, like for Oklahoma, everyone has the same 2 senators. Then you have representatives per districts in your state. So while everyone in Oklahoma will have the same senators that I do, not everyone in Oklahoma will have the same representative in the House of Representatives as I do, if that makes sense. So we're going to look up how we can contact these people. And really, it's not as hard as it sounds. We just go to a website, look it up, write them a message, and hope that they listen. What is really encouraging is one of the senators had their office call me back and personally thank me for writing in, and that the bill specifically sounded something that aligned with their ideals, and they sent it to a particular part of their office to review. So it sounded like they're kind of moving forward on it. The other senator responded and said, I'll keep in mind what you said, but it wasn't reintroduced at the time that I wrote. So I'm going to write again to be like, hey, guess what? This is reintroduced. Vote for it to pass. Okay, so let's go ahead. Whew. Like, I hope you guys are enjoying this crazy thunder that is going on in the background. It's lovely. So let's see. We'll do senators first. So in the description box, you can find this linked. It'll be under like how to contact your senator. And this is senate.gov/senators/senators-contact.htm. So literally, you just choose your state. I'm gonna choose my state, Oklahoma. And this shows me who my senators are. Now you can call them on the phone if you would like to. I know a lot of us do not like to do that, so I don't blame you if you don't. You can also send them a snail mail letter. Now normally, I should be able to. Yep. So it's going to show you this here. I think I have to switch over. So I just clicked this contact button. Let me switch back. We're gonna switch to maybe because it opened in a thing and now I'm like, okay, we're gonna stop that one. Give me a second. We're gonna share this other tab. So I clicked on the contact on that page. Now it brings me to his website. This is typically where you're going to be able to, in some way, contact them. Now, if you're really gung-ho, feel free to call. Feel free to send a snail mail letter. Feel free to literally request a meeting. You can do that. If you're like me and that scares the crap out of you and you're not really sure how you would go about that, let's start with the emailing. Baby steps. And then you just kind of put your information in. Tell them your private information that I'm not filling in, and there will be usually kind of an issue just so they can kind of file under who to look at it, who to respond, that sort of thing. Obviously it's not always a thing. Specifically, I usually do like education. I think another one, they didn't have education on there, but they had like civil rights. I put it under that because quite frankly, abusing people is violating their rights, in my opinion. You can put other as well. And then you just write to them. Tell them, hi, my name is so-and-so. I am an autistic adult. I am a parent of an autistic child. I am a concerned citizen who cares about people with disabilities. Whatever, right? And I would like to urge you to pass or to support the Keeping All Students Safe Act, or KASSA. It's recently been reintroduced to this session of Congress. This is why. Disproportionately, seclusion and restraint affects disabled people. That matters to me. I think this needs to stop. You can't appeal to some of their values that they state. So some of them they'll like write about their issues, like specifically this senator cares a lot about adoption and life. So when I first reached out and messaged this senator, I told him, hey, you and I really care about the value of human life, and we really care about that. And if we care about the value of people's lives, then you should really care about how disabled people are being treated. You should really care that 80% of the people who are secluded and restrained in public schools are disabled, and this is abuse. And so if you really do care about these things that you put on here, the things that, you know, they kind of ran on, that was their party platform, how they got into Congress, how they got elected. If you really care about that thing, then you should care about this. And that kind of helps them also see, like, you know what they care about, or they say they care about, and it might catch their attention better. Obviously, you can add in some information, some statistics, etc. if you would like to. There are many great places to get those. I would definitely suggest endseclusion.org. That is the Alliance Against Seclusion and Restraint. I'm going to stop sharing my screen here in just a second. There we go. My thing is telling me there's new comments, but there's like, oh, there is. Okay. My brain just stopped because I was reading comments. I'm so sorry. Okay, let me read your comments if you want me to like continue talking about that. That's how you would get a hold of your senators. Very similar for getting a hold of your representatives. That's also in a link. You literally just put where you live. They tell you, hey, these are your representatives. It gives you usually a phone number, a place to mail to, and usually there's like a contact or something like that. You click that, it takes to the site. You find where they say you can send me a message, etc., and you message them. It's pretty simple, but very important, because they know it matters to you genuinely that you took the time out of your day to contact them directly. I'm going to go ahead and try to catch up with you all. Robber guy. I remember my therapist tried defending ABA by saying that the military study made those reports so that insurance companies would not have to pay for ABA, but I am skeptical as they support ABA. Yeah, that's really, I hate it when people like invalidate things. They're like, well, this study was done and like, but like it wasn't actually good because like then wouldn't every single study like that comes out of TRICARE be about how they shouldn't have to support stuff? Like that's frustrating. They're spamming Tim's Twitter. Oh my gosh. Robert guy also says ideally TRICARE would actually want to cover something that actually works, and ABA has been shown to not work and cause mental health issues in autistic people. Yes. I think that's kind of words hilarious, because like, yeah, that's the point, right? Why would they want to pay for something that's not helping? Like the point of them in their perspective is helping someone get better, and if it is just not doing what it says it's doing, they're just throwing their money away. Now, I'm not saying that I'm not saying that autistic people in general need to get better from their autism. I'm saying that if you're taking someone to therapy, they're supposed to improve in some way. If you take me to physical therapy, my motor skills in some way should improve. And if not, then perhaps my physical therapy isn't working. Yeah. So yeah, that makes sense. Oh boy. What's funny is that all my social media shares the same name. I'm sharing the link of this live stream. Oh yay, that's not intimidating at all. Is there, Quigley says, is there an option for something like legislation/bills? So typically that's kind of what that would be under. Sometimes there is, sometimes it's a specific separate section, but usually in general, the reason there's categories, the reason you're typically going to be talking to them other than your own issues within the state, are going to be because you want them to vote in a certain way regarding a bill in that category. There's a ridiculous amount of bills that go through Congress every year. So they're just saying, like, here's our committee that handles these types of bills. You're talking to us about this type of bill, and etc. I think that's usually how it works. I requested specifically some places they'll let you like tick a box that says I want you to contact me, and that's what I did with both of the senators that did respond to me. It took them about a month, but they did respond and kind of gave me feedback. I prefer that just so I know that it went through and that you're accountable to respond to me. Do we? Yep, I'm not sure what the initial goal of TRICARE DoD study was trying to accomplish, but it pretty clearly shows that ABA doesn't only help, but it actively causes regression. Yeah. I think it was mostly like, is there a point to our funding going here? Amanda Caesar says, I'm sorry you all in the US are going through some weird things in the government. I have good news though. I got a job as an autistic person here in Portugal and I'm really happy. Oh, I'm happy for you. Congratulations. That's exciting. Oh, you can ignore me, Stephanie. I'm just providing info for people. Sorry. Okay. And then I think we've diverted a little bit off into ABA again. My most current tweet. Hi, it's me again. Please talk about this bill. Oh my gosh. Anyway, so yeah, that's what CASSA is. I have left some resources in the description box. So that includes the video I did. If you're not really sure why prone restraint or restraint in general and seclusion is a big deal, I encourage you to watch that video. If you want to figure out how to contact the right people, that's also in there. If you want the fact sheet that I went over, that's there. There's also the letter that many of the state attorney generals wrote and signed. That's also located there. So there's also really good data and information about the bill in those sources as well. So description box, yay resources, definitely do that. I don't know. Is that I don't want to do something illegal. I was gonna say, well, you can't do that either. I don't know. I want to encourage you some way, somehow. If like I don't know how to like legally do that, like to encourage you to write your representatives and stuff. I don't know how to do that other than to tell you. I was thinking of something and I was like, I don't know. I think that like I don't want it to be illegal. So I'm gonna just say you're awesome. And if you reach out to your representative, any of your representatives in Congress over the matter, you should leave a comment of some kind on the original video so I can just tell you you're awesome and heart your comment, because that's probably all I'm legally allowed to do. I don't want to get in trouble and say things I can't actually do. Yes, back to the bill. I'm sorry. No, you're fine. I'll be a thorn in people's side until they talk about the bill. That sounds good. See, and that's what I love about like the autistic community too. Is like autistic people, when we have something we care about, like we're not gonna stop. And I think that's really cool. And I feel like this is a place that we should really direct our energy to, because sometimes we direct our energy to like hating on people and organizations that sometimes deserve it and sometimes don't. But I think if we could like focus that energy and like nonstop to something this important, we could really cause really big change. So I was really excited about it. This is important to me for obvious reasons, and I think it should matter to you too. Like if you do something about this, like you are literally affecting the futures of disabled children and lots of other children, because 20% of them aren't disabled who get also secluded and restrained. You're affecting them, their school experience, and their future, quite frankly. So, I mean, it's kind of important. It's legal to send a letter to a person of Congress based off of public information. Yes. No, yeah, no, like sending them information, contacting them, etc. is legal. I was saying like incentive from me personally. I don't know if that's legal for me to incentivize people to do that, because I know that there was like something that went on when people were incentivizing people to vote. I think it mattered like whether it was to vote for someone or if it was just to vote in general. So I don't no, I don't want to like, I don't want to do something illegal. So no, but yeah, no, contacting your government officials, me talking to you about this and telling you should support it, that's legal. I'm saying like okay, I'll just tell you what my idea was then, because now I'm confusing you guys. I'm saying like if you contacted, hypothetically, if you contacted them about it, then you would get put in a drawing for something. But I think that might be like sketching the legal illegal lines. I'm not really sure, so I'm not gonna do that. But I am legally allowed to encourage you and inform you about it, and you are legally allowed to contact your representatives in Congress. So, and you're allowed to talk about things, obviously. I just wanted to clear that up. Oh, you're the best, Alex. Well, also I felt so bad because like I didn't know. Anyway, yes, Alex Carson, you're the best. Yeah, that might be a gray area of me. Yeah, so I'm just gonna not do that. But this is the information. Obviously, you can make your decision. I would highly recommend you support it. And either way, definitely highly recommend you contact your representatives. Here, I will do what the fighting expert says. Just say, I would hope you contact your government person and tell them you want the bill backed. I would hope you do that. Yes, I would very much hope you do that. Oh, man. So, yeah. Well, I believe, unless you all have some more questions about CASA, if you want to go over anything else about that specifically, definitely bring it up. If not, thank you. I got this off of Shein, of all places. For anybody confused, sorry. Nice shirt, Hope. Yes. Thank you, Barry. Hello. Oh, that's so cool. If you need any legal advice, my brother is a lawyer, so I can help. That's so cool. And can you do a video on that TRICARE study? I can put it on the consideration list. I know I mentioned it as part of the humongous ABA video. I need to go back over that video, section it out, and like post sections of it, and also timestamp it. That's a project. But I think, yeah, like pulling out individual things like the TRICARE study, to help people know to also thank you. Okay, sorry. To help people know like the individual things about stuff is probably helpful as well. Yeah. So those of you who are like not super interested in legislation, apologize. This may have been a little bit boring for you, but there you go. Please also look up Tim Pool and getting into contact with him. I will. I wrote his name down, so I will do my best to attempt the contact. Because if that could definitely get the ball rolling, the ball rolling, that would be really cool as well. So I'm really hoping that it passes this round, because that would be really freaking cool. It really would. I'm just really excited about it, and I believe, especially with so many state attorney generals signing that letter, I think now is definitely a time to really push for it, and I think we have a good chance. Oh, hey, some bulls do be rolling. There's a new release of data just last year. Interesting. Okay, I'll have to look at that because obviously that wouldn't have made it in the video. Oh, bulls can roll too. I'm sorry. Yes, they can. I don't know who that is. Aaron Wolfer. Maybe you should head up Brett Weinstein or Wens. I don't know how to say. He just released a video on neurodiversity, so he might be sympathetic. I will write that person down. That needs to be a shirt now. I have so many. Okay, people are like 70. You have a lot of merch. Maybe you should chill out. And I'm just like, but I like putting things on things. And I think if I like it, maybe other people would like it. Hey, some bulls, not bulls. Oh no, we're making it worse. I need to stop talking. I guess I'm going to be spamming some people. Well, I mean, obviously I don't want to spam them and irritate them because I don't think that would be great. Quigley Tasha Storm says, I know this is off topic, but I'd be interested to learn about any research that's been done on the effects of psilocybin? Sorry, I don't know how to say. On autistic brains. That is interesting. I haven't even... Well, it's just kind of loud. We're just writing things down this time because last 3 or 4 times I didn't write things down while it was happening and then I forgot. That is something to look into. I really have a lot of research to do. Following up on that, I know there's been research done recently into depression treatment with that, and it can temporarily restructure the brain. So I'd be really interested in that. Yeah, that is quite interesting. Fascinating. More options are better. Don't listen to them. I will buy that shirt if I see it on the shop. Oh, it's mushroom scotch. I was like, I don't know the fancy word. Interesting. Of course, like the stream now is probably not like super helpful for people, but hopefully the first part of the stream would be helpful for anybody who ends up being linked. Hopefully, like, don't like harass people though, guys. Just it wouldn't. That probably would work counter to what we're trying to do here. There's so many things. I already have like 2 very specific things I really want to put on something, but what I need to do is like actually finish researching for my next batch of videos, because what I'm trying to do is get some videos pre-done for you guys, because when I start my semester in the fall, I don't know if I'll be able to like keep up with all this, so yeah. Sorry, I know that noise is horrifying. It's also a good conversation starter. The thunder, though. What does that shirt mean? Have you ever heard of CASSA? You get done explaining CASSA and they're like, okay, but like, what does that have to do with the shirt? Oh my goodness. By semester, do you mean you're pregnant? No. I mean my school semester. So I have gotten into my program in the fall, and I will be like, this fall semester won't be too bad, but like, well, it might be. I don't know, but it's not as packed as like the rest of them. And so they were like saying that you're gonna practically live it, and that's it. Like nothing else in your life will exist. And I'm like, oh, that's exciting. Yeah, so okay, it's all good. Yes, I do. Yes, and see, like, that's the thing. I've been so spoiled with having, I'll just put it on that thing so people aren't confused. Don't stress about my idea. I'm just curious because I know you do a lot of research and stuff and probably have access to research libraries through school. No rush, though. Yeah, so I've been kind of spoiled with that for sure. So I've been definitely utilizing my research libraries, and the fact that you can request, like, for them to grab research papers from other libraries for free, like through them or whatever, and it doesn't have to be for school. So I think that's pretty cool. Oh, very cool. Kruger says, I'm hoping to go to university too, global business with pilot studies. Very nice. Nola's saying hi to me, if you're wondering what's happening in the background here. C. Jendu says, can I volunteer to help you with research or script writing? Honestly, that'd be really cool. The thing is, I'm so like I'm really terrible about like having to be in control of things. And I think if I learned to like let people like trust that other people are capable of like bringing relevant information to my attention and like helping with that stuff, like I think it would really help and it would be really cool. But like I get really stressed out because I'm like, what if this and what if that? So perhaps in the future, if I become less of a control freak, I guess. That's the only thing I miss about school, having access to like all the research libraries. Yeah, it's really nice. It really is. Like I'm like, dang, there's some stuff I didn't even know I had access to because it's on like a different page, and I'm like, well, that's nice. So I'll have it for 2 more years, I think. Yeah, because then I'll finish out my program, and then I will hopefully come out the other end. Sounds bad. As an occupational therapy assistant. So that's what I'm going to school for, if anybody was confused. Hello, DVD and film bloke. Watching Star Trek. Nice, very nice. You're probably here at the tag end just because this thunder is like keeps on freaking me out, and now like my nose wants to run and stuff because, you know, all the stuff out there. I'll only be here for an hour because I work in the morning. See, we're just missing each other a little bit too much. Just looking to get my PhD and change the world. Happy to start small. That's really cool, though. I will holler if I ever change my mind. Yes, that's so cool. I can hear Homer Simpson says library like he says beer. I don't know how he says either, so that would be very confusing. Okay. Oh, sorry. So I probably am gonna go ahead and end it hereabouts. Hooray for careers! As I'm still figuring that out for myself post-graduation. Oh, you're so cool, Alex. Alex Carson. I feel bad because we were on live and I called you Alex, and you're like, well, I mean, my name's not actually Alex in real life, and I was like, oh, so now I'm like, do I call you Lauren or do I call you Alex? And then every time I see your name, I am really this is being relived in my brain a lot, just so you know. Anyway. I started uni in another state, but it was really hard for me to live without my parents. I came back to my city recently, and I'll apply again in 2022. That's a good idea. New catchphrase. Hey, some balls do be rolling. Call me Alex. It's all good. Okay. Yeah. Sorry, I just feel bad. Okay. Okay. So, yeah, I think I'm going to go ahead and leave you guys. That way, anybody who might look into clicking on this as well might not be so intimidated by a super long length. And also, yeah, storming, and now I have to pay attention because my dog likes to get into things when I'm not paying attention to her. So yeah, but I really like hanging out with you guys. Thank you so much for tuning into something that didn't exactly sound fun, because I know that can be kind of like, I don't really want to hear about like stuff like this. So I really appreciate it. For those of you who are interested, for those of you who are going to go ahead and reach out to representatives, etc., you're amazing. Let me know in the actual like comment section of this video, like the replay, so I can heart your comment. Specifically, I mean, I heart people's comments a lot, but like I need to express in some way that you're awesome for doing that. Just saying. Also, just awesome for being here in general. And for those of you who are in the US, like, you guys are cool too. Like, I just love you guys. I need to stop talking. I'm just saying things now. All right, thank you guys. I will see you all, yes, live next month. Hopefully, probably, most likely. Y'all have a good night and day and all of that. And yeah, thank you guys. It's okay. You're still cool if you're not in the US for being here in general. I'm gonna stop talking so I don't dig myself a hole that I can't get out of. Bye. Nola says bye too. She's getting mad. She says bye. Yeah.